What can we find from this top 20 rank? We can divide the 20 apps to 4 categories. The first category is aggregation news apps, such as Flipboard, News Republic, Smart News, Newsmaster, the all aggregation news apps. Together, they have more than 60% of market penetration in the news market. So they are the main channel of US people to use the news apps. The second category is the news distribution service apps, such as the Google Play Newsstand. You can distribute the magazine or the newspaper you like on the Google Play Newsstand. And when you click the headlines, it will automatically transfer to the traditional media's mobile version. That's the second category. And the fourth category is the number 8 and the number 9 of Yahoo and AOL, and another one MSN, but MSN cannot make the top 20 now. Together, they for a long time famous of the news portal apps for a long time. You know, in China, in the very early stage of Chinese internet market, the Sina, Sohu, NetEasy are learning from them. So they are the third category. The last category is the traditional medias. If you look at this form, we can find that in the US news market, the traditional media is quite strong and performance very good on the mobile age. We can see that for the first one, for the number 4, CNN, number 5, Fox News, and also BBC, NY Times, they are all very good traditional medias, and they have performance very good on mobile age. And also the traditional medias have a better user stickiness than the other category of news. Look at this form. This is average weekly openings of different category of apps. We can see that the traditional media's average weekly opening is 3.34, but the aggregation news apps average weekly opening is 2.93. So we can find that the traditional media has a better user stickiness, has a better user loyalty. For example, the Fox News, it has the highest user stickiness. The average weekly opening is 4.47 per person. That means average for one person, it will open Fox News for 4.47 times. Why it is like this? We believe that actually in the US market, the traditional media also have very good user experience. It's not totally out of age. It has very good technical, very good user experience. For example, Fox News, you can browse the headlines. At the same time, on the same page, also watching the live broadcasting of Fox News. So its user experience very good. That's all the news app situation in America. Let's see some challenges that the news apps are facing. For example, Flipboard. This two table is the Flipboard with the pre-installation version with Samsung, the blue one, and the volunteered download version, the green one. We can find that the blue one is more than 2 times than the green one. So we can get a conclusion that Flipboard are more relying on their relationship with Samsung with the pre-installation. But how the performance? We can see that the blue line has a better performance. The active penetration is increased from 4.46 to 5.61, but not that good on the green one. The active penetration is a little shrunk for the past 7 months. How about the Google Play Newsstand for the past 7 months? We can find from active penetration, Google Play Newsstand is a little shrunk also. So from that 2 tables, we can find that both the Flipboard and Google Play Newsstand are losing land. The landscape is changing, and who gets the new land? Who takes the market share of Flipboard and Google Play Newsstand? The answer is the personalization recommendation news. This is the rank of the installation penetration. That means what apps people are new installed, people are new download. From this table, we can find that the number 1 is News Republic, number 2 is Newsmaster, and the number 4 is Newsbreak. They are aggregation apps with personalization recommendation. So we can see that in the US news markets, the personalization recommendation news apps are still growing very, very fast. That's all the situation happened in the US market. Next, let's look at what happened in Chinese market. How does Chinese access their news? Look at this table. This table shows that the news apps category are more and more popular for the past 1 year. For the beginning of this year, the market penetration of news apps is 60%. And for the July, it is already 19%. It has 20% increase. And also the news category in the beginning of the year is the 6th position of all kinds of apps. For July, it's already be the 5th position. It's even surpassed the e-commerce and the social category, become a more and more popular category in Chinese apps market. Look at this table. That's what happened for the past 2015. We can see the purple line is 今日头条. It has been a beautiful increasing line for the past 1 year, and it surpassed the number 1 Tencent News on September. Now it is the top 1 news apps in Chinese market. The same thing happened on 一点资讯. We can see the increasing line is almost the same. 一点资讯 also aggregation apps with personalization recommendation. And the other ones we can see together on the below is the news portal apps with iPhone, Sina, Sohu, NetEasy. They are all news portal apps. We can see they all the same, no increase. Even some of them are shrunk. So that's a situation in Chinese market. Oh, sorry. This is the top 10 of Chinese market of news apps. What we can tell from the top 10? We can see that the number 1, number 3, and number 4, they are all aggregation news apps with personalization recommendation. And the other ones almost are the news portal apps. And one interesting is in Chinese news market, no traditional medias can make top 10. Can you find it? Yes, the best performance of traditional media is this one. It's Pepper, 澎湃新闻. It's the best performance of traditional medias in Chinese market. It can only make number 7th. Why it is so difficult for traditional medias to have good performance in Chinese market? I think there is 2 reasons. First is there is stagnant system in China. You know, for the past 1 or 2 years, many newspapers and magazines are broke down. They are shuttled. And also, the administrative matters also hold back of the traditional medias of their performance on the news market. So for the weekly opening, for the user stickiness, we can also tell that the aggregation apps also have a better user stickiness than the news portal apps. The average of aggregation apps is 2.92 and the news portal apps only 2.5. So we can get a conclusion that in Chinese market, the aggregation apps with personalization recommendation has already dominated this market as king of this market. For the last part, my result is it's time to copy China for the news market. So let's talk about the future of development for personalization news in the US. This table is reflection for the Chinese news apps to go global. For example, News Republic, they have version in US, in Europe, and in India. This is a table of Chinese app developer to go global. I think from my own understanding, it's on the 2nd stage now. For the first stage, the Chinese internet company go abroad, basically on the utility apps, such as Clean Master, Battery Doctor, SAM Security, or Wi-Fi Master. They have good performance all over the world. Most of them are utility apps. That's stage 1. That's the age of 1.0. I think now it's 2.0 age. That's the Chinese company go abroad with content apps, such as news apps. So I think for Chinese app developer, they have great pressures to go global with content, with news apps. But there is still 3 issue required solution in the US market for the personalization recommendation to have good performance here. First and the most important one is copyrights. You understand it, right? For Chinese market, in the beginning, the aggregation news apps directly escape the media content of the traditional media, so they grow very fast. After 1 or 2 years, they just start pay attention to the copyrights. But this thing cannot happen in the US market because the copyright protection is so serious here. So only the company with copyrights and the personalization recommendation based on algorithm can have better performance here. The second thing is the user preference. Just as I mentioned, the US people prefer the social media better than the news apps specifically designed for news, such as Facebook or Twitter. So for the news apps here, the biggest competitor is Facebook or Twitter, not other news apps. And the last thing is algorithm. We hope the algorithm can not only recommend the news people have interest, but also recommend the news have great value. But for my personal experience, I do believe in the future it's an age of AI. It's an artificial intelligence. If we have artificial intelligence and deep learning in news, what will happen? It means we'll have 1 billion editors just edit personal news for you, for yourself. If the data know yourself better, know you better than yourself, what will happen? The data, the machine will recommend the best news for us, better than TV, better than social medias. So based on this, I do believe the algorithm based on big data and artificial intelligence is happening in Chinese market. I do believe it will also happen in the US market. So my conclusion is, on the news apps, it is time to copy China. This is all my speech, and this is the QR code of our Cheetah Global Lab. If you want to get more reports, you can scan the QR code of us. Also, on the SVIEF Summit, we launched a report, the Global News Market Research Report, together with SVIEF. If you want to get some report, we have booths just outside. You can take the report from us. And this is all the connection ways, including email, website, Facebook, and Twitter. And last is my personal email, quanjing@cmcm.com. Okay, that's all my speech. It is time to copy China. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening.
Does it work? No. Thank you, Mrs. Jenny Chan, on sharing with us those insights on mobile news apps. I'd like to welcome on stage our next speaker, Mr. Michael Tan, General Manager of Alibaba Cloud Americas, where he currently oversees business development of American markets for the cloud computing arm of Alibaba Inc. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity today to come here and talk to you guys about Alibaba Cloud. It's a bit refreshing. I got a few questions today that I don't normally expect. some people come to the booth and say, what is this? And I was like, okay, we have this Alibaba Cloud written right here. So it's not that they don't know what cloud is. I think people in the Valley generally is pretty technically savvy, but they don't know Alibaba actually does cloud. So there are some others who would come with a question that is a little bit more self-explanatory, such as, oh, I didn't know Alibaba do cloud. So, so I think today I'm here just to tell you a little bit about Alibaba Cloud and what we do. So, first thing first, everybody seems to know who Jack Ma is. So he had a big Wall Street tour about 2 years ago. He did the IPO, and it was quite an event. And people probably know about the Double 11 shopping day. It's the biggest shopping day in China. We get on the news a lot. We do bigger volume than the Black Monday, Thanksgiving, Christmas shopping day all combined. So people know a lot. So Jack Ma once says, IT as the information technology age has evolved into what he called a DT, the data technology. And what DT really means is when IT evolves into leveraging a lot of data. And just like the previous presenter mentioned, there's a lot of data out there to be analyzed, insights to be drawn, and so on and so forth. So we're in the DT age, and what does that mean? Is like, how do we make DT age come alive? What is needed to support that kind of new digital information and digital transformation? And a lot of it is really resting on the cloud. So cloud is really coming of age. It has been around for a while, but people may not know what exactly it is, how important it is, how useful it is, and how beneficial it is. So when we're talking about cloud, when we're talking about data, when Jack talks about DT, is really about internet as an infrastructure and cloud really as a computing resource to turn into a public service of some kind. It's almost like a utility. It's almost like a power socket where you can plug your appliance into it and start using it. That's what the internet is. That's what cloud is. It's gonna be supporting you everywhere you go. So, what we did as Alibaba Cloud, it's actually starting way back from 2009. So we did that for quite a number of years, mainly because cloud is really a deep technology stack. So there's a lot you need to do in order to make cloud work. So we're heavily invested in the so-called IaaS layer, the infrastructure as a service layer. And so we started out in 2009, we formed the team together, we did a lot of investigations, we did a lot of research, and we put in a lot of engineering effort into making that happen. And so within a couple of years, we started offering some small services, such as storage, such as computing, some of these basic services. And then it really kind of grew from there. And today, we're really the biggest cloud provider in China. And we did a little bit of a milestone back in 2013 in which we put together the first ever, at the time, the first ever 5,000 node computing cluster. So it was quite a milestone, and we were pretty proud about that. And from then on, we kind of just took off in China. And nowadays, China cloud market is quite competitive, but still, with that kind of fierce competition, we're still the #1 cloud provider in China. So in terms of global expansion, this year is really the first year we started taking our cloud services internationally to different regions. And so I'm not surprised when people's like, don't know who we are, don't know what we do. It's like, oh, I didn't know Alibaba do cloud. But yes, in fact, we've been doing it for years. And we've been doing it in China for years, and now we're just taking our first step out of the door. We're starting to have presence everywhere, and that's where that's why we're here today. So, you might be wondering how we did in the past few years. And so in terms of the financial reports, we have been doing quite well. So for the past 5 quarters, the chart that you see here, you see 4 quarters of triple-digit growth, but even the latest quarter that is not included in the chart here shows another quarter of triple-digit growth. So we're really growing at a breakneck pace, despite the fact that we are already the biggest cloud provider in China. That tells you how much market is out there, how much potential is out there, and the people who can potentially leverage cloud. There's a lot of people waiting out there to use cloud. Cloud is really becoming your utility, becoming your service, so that you need to use it every day. And people need to be told about the benefits of cloud. And some of the analyst firms, such as Gartner, Forrester, IDC, they also took notice for the past year and the year before. And they start analyzing this cloud market in China, and Alibaba Cloud actually comes out on top, being the biggest, having the most impact, being the most insightful, best in terms of execution, reliability and scalability, and so on and so forth. And we're also making our way into the global cloud market scene. According to some of the latest research firms' data, such as Deutsche Bank, such as Gartner, Forrester, they're all taking notice of Alibaba Cloud in the global scene, not just China. So in terms of footprint, today, we have about 2.3 million customers using Alibaba Cloud. Now, needless to say, most of them is within China, because we're just starting our international expansion this year. And out of those 2.3 million, there is about 500,000 that are paid users. So here you see our global footprint. We started out in China, of course. We currently have 5 regions in China. And then the first outside of China presence that we have is in Hong Kong. And then since then, we have established our data centers in the United States. And we are also planning on more presence around the globe. In Singapore, we have 2 data centers. We're building a 3rd one. Within this year, we're going to establish an open service in Europe, in the Middle East, in Dubai. There is one not on the map here in Australia, in Japan. And so we are moving very aggressively in terms of offering our service. And we're pretty confident, because after all these years of being demanded by our users, by our businesses, and running the problems and fixing problems, all these things, these are very precious learning experiences that makes us better. And we're pretty confident after all these years that we are offering a very strong set of services and products. And so I'm not going to go through this slide. This is a very busy slide. But I think the idea is to convey that we have a very comprehensive portfolio of cloud products and services that is comparable to top cloud providers that you have today. And I'm not going to name them. Some of these products ranging from computing, from networking, from storage, in the infrastructure layers, and then in the platform layers and the service layers, we also offer services that would make your life easy, that would help your business becoming more efficient, so that you don't have to worry about all these computing resources. How do you manage them? You don't have to keep an IT team that are technically enough to manage some of these things. Everything is easy for you. And so some of these services, for example, I'll just take 1 or 2 of the examples out there. Big data. Big data is one of our key strengths. We spend a number of years creating these big data technologies. A lot of it comes from the fact that in China we have a very large market and a large number of people. There's a lot of data to be gathered and a lot of data to be analyzed. And so because of that, we grow very naturally in the big data direction. And so, for example, some of these things that I highlighted here, we won the Jim Gray Award. The Jim Gray Award is a worldwide database competition award. It's an international competition, and we won that last year, and we beat the previous record by multiple times. So this speaks to the key strength of our big data technology. Another one is security. So this is something also is very unique because some of the other key cloud providers, they usually work with security specialists. So they would work with security specialists to partner with them to offer their products and services to be part of their cloud. But we actually do a lot of these security products and services ourselves. We do invest a lot into this area. So this one right here, cloud security called Yundun. Yundun is a Chinese name. It literally translates into cloud shield. It's just one example of the myriad of security products and services that we do. This one is specifically for DDoS protection. So DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service. It's an attack that is employed by a lot of hackers to sort of take your site down so that your site cannot serve your customers and you don't even know where the attack is coming from. So last year and the year before, we successfully defended 2 of the largest DDoS attacks in the world at that time. This year, I don't know what's the highest record, but last year and the year before, we defended successfully 2 of the largest attacks in the world. And so it speaks to that. We are definitely very experienced because we get a lot of these attacks. And so that's how we grew our strength into doing this kind of DDoS protection. So we're also aware, coming out of China and starting our international expansion into international markets, we're aware that around the world, people are very concerned about how compliant you are, whether you have certain certifications. And so we work very hard into getting ourselves internationalized, earning these certifications and compliance so that people know we are secure, we are compliant, and we are certified. And some of these are standard certifications that you will see across the board in other cloud providers and businesses as well. There's a couple of them that is not shown here. The latest one is the HIPAA compliance certificate, we just earned that. And the other one is the MPAA compliance certificate, and we just earned that as well. And we're continuing on this path very aggressively. So, last but not least, I want to talk about a couple of things that we are focusing on now. There are 2 programs. One is called the Ali Launch, and the other one is called the China Connect. So Ali Launch is really a program to help our partners to expand their business into China. So everyone knows China has a huge market. It's a lot of business opportunities. And people sometimes wonder, how do we take advantage of that? People may not know the market well, they may not know how to interact with the people there, they may not know the consumers' expectations and the habits, or even they may not know what kind of statutes and laws that they need to abide from. And so this is really to help our partners to launch in China, to launch their business. And we help our ISVs, we help our technology partners, and so we have a program specifically tailored to that to help our partners. The other one is China Connect. So China is a bit of a strange country in some regards. For example, if you land in China, you can't access Facebook, for example. So sometimes it takes a little bit of understanding and learning process to do business in China. For example, there are certain license agreements or requirements that the government may ask you to do, and then you have no idea until you find out. And so the China Connect program is really designed to help you to connect with the consumers in China. So it leverages Alibaba Group's ecosystem. We have a big ecosystem in China. Everybody knows about our key e-commerce business is huge. There's a lot of potential in there. You can get in touch with the consumers as well as businesses. But we also have other things such as logistics. We have the largest logistics platform in China, supporting all the major logistics companies. We have the largest advertising platform in China. And if you think Baidu's search ads is huge, we are actually bigger than Baidu. We also have a media business. For example, the Chinese version of YouTube, the Chinese version of Facebook, and their volume, their views, their daily impressions are really quite staggering. So there's a lot of these ecosystems that you can leverage, that you can connect to help your business grow, to help your business move further and expand internationally. So these are the two programs that I want to talk to you about today, and also I would encourage you to come find out. We have a booth out there, just outside the hall. It's very easy. So that's it, I think. It's a very brief description of what Alibaba Cloud is, and I hope you guys today is going to be the first time of many times that you're going to hear about this. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Mr. Michaelton for sharing with us those amazing insights on Alibaba Cloud. And right now I'd like to make a short reminder on the lucky draw that we're going to do at the end of the event. So for those of you who haven't left your business cards in the box for the draw, I encourage you to do that because there are two amazing prizes that we're going to draw. One of them is Axon 7 smartphone sponsored by ZTE USA, and another prize is one San Jose Shanghai round-trip flight ticket sponsored by Air China.